Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Can I get permission to share screen? Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Sarvalokanam Vishaje Bhavarogina Nidage Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Shruti Smriti Purana Namalayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Shankaram Lokashankaram Apara Karuna Sindhum Jnanadam Shantarupinam Shri Chandrasekhara Gurum Pranamami Mudanvaham Parityajya Maunam Vatadasthitincha Vrajan Bharatasya Pradeshat Pradesham Madhusyandi Vacha Janan Dharma Margenayan Shri Jayendro Gururbati Chitte Namama Shankaran Vakya Vijayendra Saraswati Shri Gurum Sishtamarganunetaram Sanmati Pradam Sadguru Charanaravinda Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So in Bhagavad Gita, we have started seeing Bhagavan's Upadesham. After the lament of Arjuna, Krishna is trying to convince Arjuna. And in that process, he is teaching all of us lessons. That is why Krishna is called as Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. No. 2 days ago, Periva did Vyasa Puja or Guru Puja, where puja to all gurus have been performed, including Shri Krishna. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Hey Arjuna, Ashochyana Anvashochastum Prajnavadamscha Bhashase Gatasunscha Nanushochanti Panditaha. Hey Arjuna, you are worrying for things that does not deserve to be worried. Why? Because there were never a time where you did not exist. There were never a time where I did not exist. There were never a time where these people did not exist. There will never be a time where we will cease to exist. So Krishna uses double negatives. Krishna says, Hey Arjuna, you are worrying about killing, but what you are going to kill is just the body. But there is something other than the body. Just like how Dehinaha asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. Just like how the same person, even though his body changes, the person remains constant. Just because a person grows up does not mean he forgets his mother or father. Even according to science, he will not even have one cell. When a person is 40 or 50, he will not even have one cell that he used to have when he was born. Every atom in his body will be replaced. Every cell in his body will be replaced. But he still says, okay, this is my mother, this is my father. That person does not change. The body changes. But the person does not change. So just like how even though the body undergoes transformation, while the person remaining the same. Dehinaha asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. The person is newly born. That person is kumaraha. That person is a youth. That is an old person. His body undergoes lots of changes. His mind undergoes lots of changes. He gets lots of experiences. He learns lots of things. He also forgets lots of things. But we don't say, okay, that is a changed person. This is a changed person. We don't say. In the same way, Tatha. Dehantara praptihi. In the same way, when a person dies, what he undergoes is change of body. In growth, there is a continuous change of body. In death, there is a sudden change of one body to another body. That is the difference. But you cannot kill Atma. Okay. That is true. But I get some shoka. When I'm trying to do my duty, I get some shoka. Krishna says, Matras Parishastu Kaunteya. Sitoshna Sukha Dukkadaha. Agama Payinaha Anityaha Tam Titikshasva Bhar. Hey Arjuna. The shoka, the dukkha, and the sukham. These are not subjective entities, but they are objective entities. We saw about the shloka in the last class. What is subjective and objective? Let us take my name. My name is Shyam. Right? To anyone who sees me, my name is Shyam. So Shyam is the property of me. I am an object. For you guys, for a beholder, I am an object. And the name Shyam is associated with that object. So name is objective. Name does not change with the person who sees the name. Name is not subjective. Right. This is Mike. For me, this is Mike. For another person, this is Mike. The language might change, but all the people who speaks the same language, for all the people who speaks the same language, this is going to be Mike. I'm not going to call this speaker. Another person will not call this desktop. Another person will not call this a car. So name, the property name, it is a objective property. What color is this mic? I'm going to call this a black color. Right. Another person will also call this black color. Language might change. The person who only knows Tamil, he will tell it's Karpu. Person who knows Hindi, they will call it as Kala. But all Karpu, Kala, black, they all refer to the same color. So the color of the mic, it is an objective property of the mind. Objective property. It belongs to the mic. No matter who sees that, the name of the mic does not change. The color of the mic does not change. The shape of the mic does not change. So there are some properties. Those are called as objective properties that will not change depending upon the subject. Gulab jamun, round in shape. If I see gulab jamun, it is going to be round in shape. If some other person sees the same gulab jamun, it is going to be the same round in shape. So the shape of the gulab jamun, it is an objective property. The color of gulab jamun, it is not going to look like green to me. If gulab jamun is golden brown color, I am not going to perceive it as green color. Some other person is not going to perceive it as blue color. So the color of the gulab jamun, it is an objective property. The taste of gulab jamun, sweet. Not that somebody else is going to eat the same gulab jamun and then say, okay, this gulab jamun is too salty. Someone else is going to eat the gulab jamun and they are not going to say, okay, this gulab jamun is so much spicy. That will never happen. We will say, okay, the gulab jamun is sweet. Sweetness. It is an objective property. It belongs to that gulab jamun at all time, irrespective of the person who eats it. But the happiness I derive from eating gulab jamun. What about the happiness that I derive from eating the gulab jamun? If a person who likes gulab jamun eats the gulab jamun, they are going to be very, very happy. I am going to experience sukham. If a person who does not like eating gulab jamun, they are not going to be happy when they eat gulab jamun. That person will experience dukkam. So, while the name of gulab jamun, color of gulab jamun, shape of gulab jamun, taste of gulab jamun, all these are objective properties. But the sukham and dukkam while eating gulab jamun, it is not an objective property. It is a subjective property. It depends upon me. The same person, I like gulab jamun, but if I have been fed gulab jamun 3 times a day for 7 days a week, 8th day, I will start hating gulab jamun. So the property, the subjective property, the sukham and dukkam, not only changes from person to person, it will change even within me, within the same person, depending upon other conditions, the subjective property changes. That is what is called as anityaha. The name of gulab jamun is nityam. Shape of gulab jamun is nityam. Color of gulab jamun is nityam. What is anityam? Whether the gulab jamun can give me happiness or sadness. Whether gulab jamun can give me sukham or dukkam is anityam. It is agama payina. Agama payinaha, it comes and goes. It comes and goes. That's what Krishna says, hey Arjuna, if you take any incident, any experience that you undergo in life, it can give you both sukham and dukkam. Somebody wins a medal, right? If I am in that person's family, that incident will give me sukham. My family member got this medal. But if I am in the competitor's family, the same incident is going to give me dukkam. Right? So sukham and dukkam, they are agamapayinaha, they are anityaha. So what is the best way to deal with it? Hey, this is a subjective property. Sukham and dukkam, they are never constant. They are never attached to the object. Sukham and dukkam are always subjective. You can change your mentality. If you don't get something, okay, you tried a lot for that, I don't get something, I will have dukkam. I have worked hard for it, I got something, I will get sukham. The person who gets sukham, let us not discuss that person now. But a person who gets dukkam, he can take the same thing in some other way. Okay, maybe I have to even work harder. So he will start working harder, and then later when he tries the next time, this person will achieve it. Or he can just sunk in that sorrow. Right? So what Krishna says is, hey, you have 5 sense organs and a manas. These are called as matra, indriyas. These are called as indriyas. So these indriyas will always be in contact with the Vishayam. And that Vishayam can either give you Sukham or Dukkham. You will never keep on experiencing Sukham. You will never keep on experiencing Dukkha as well. So you can change your mentality, or in the worst case, start having some perseverance, because this too shall change. Tam titikshasva bharata. Titiksha அப்படிங்கிறார். திதிக்ஷானா பொறை உடைமை, தமிழ்ல பொறுமைன்னு பேரு. திருவள்ளுவர் 10 திருக்குறள்ல பொறை உடைமை, பொறுமையினுடைய அவசியத்தை விளக்குகின்றார். But of course, he only deals about when a person abuses you, you have to be patient. But then he has his own reasons to do that way, because previously he has told, தீயினால் சுட்ட புண் உள்ளாரும் ஆறாதே, நாவினால் சுட்ட வடுங்கிற. அதனால he only speaks about the verbal abuse in பொறை உடை. So agamapainaha anityaha tam titikshasva bharata. What is the phalam of that? Yamhinav yathayantyete purusham purusharushaba sama dukkha sukham dhiram. So saha amritatvaya kalpate. The person who sees Sukham and Dukkam as equal. Sama Dukkha Sukham Dhiram. A person who sees Sukham and Dukkam as equal, Krishna gives them a name, Dhiraha. He calls them as Dhiran. Dhiran. Dhiran does not mean a person who has got physical strength. Dhiraha, Dhiraha, it means a person who has got mental strength to endure through all the Sukham and Dukkha. Sama Dukkha Sukham Dhiram. Saha, that person, Amritatvaya kalpate. That person will go to moksha. That person is eligible for moksha. Amritaha is called as moksham. Why? Because punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam. Samsara is defined as being born and dead again and again. So moksha is free from the cycle of birth and death. Amritaha, I will never be dead. It is called as moksha. That is why we call something as Mrityunjaya mantram, Trembaka mantram. Mrityoho mukshiyam amritat is the prayer. Normally people think that, okay, this Trembaka mantram is for living long life. But Trembaka mantram is for avoiding death. Both are two different things. Living long life is different from avoiding death. What the Trembaka mantram is really, you pray is, hey, Bhagavan, let me not have any birth and death. So when we say Mrityoho Mukshiya, you always have to supply Jananath Mukshiya as well. Because later Krishna will say, Chatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. A person who is born, he will definitely die. The person who dies will definitely be born. So when we say Amritatvaya kalpate, it also means Ajananatvaya kalpate. He will be free from the cycle of birth and death. Yamhinav yathayantyete purusham. Yam purusham. Hey Purusha Rishabha. So Purusha Rishabha is Krishna calling Arjuna. Hey Rishabha means, Rishabha literally means ox. But it means a Sreshta, an extolled among men. Hey Purusha Rishabha. Yam Purusham, that person. Na Vyathayantyete. Na Vyathayantyete. Na Vyathayanti. That person who does not, who is not affected by. Affected by what? Sukham and Tukkam. Samadukham Sukham Dhiram. Who sees both Sukham and Dukkam as equal. Saha, that person. Amritatvaya Kalpate. That person is eligible for moksha. That person is eligible for moksha. Then, now, why should we not worry about Sukham and Dukkam? So the first reason we saw is they are subjective. Sukham and Dukkam is subjective. So if you assume, like, let us see some biology, how a disease will progress. I have got COVID, right? How a person gets COVID? Just because this person is exposed to COVID virus will not make him COVID positive. Just because I am exposed to that virus or that infectious agent will never make me sick. Right? I might be COVID positive, but I will never be COVID sick. We say that infection, the COVID virus causes sickness, right? But if we think about it, even that is not true. It causes bad health, but that alone cannot be the reason for your decline in health. You know what is the other reason? The status of your health. If my immune system is strong, then my immune system can fight COVID. But if my immune system is weak, COVID will fight and take over. So, whether you have to suffer from any disease or not, it depends upon two things. We will only focus on only one thing. What? The cause of that infection. We would only worry about the COVID, which is not in our hand. Right? Whether you get exposed to COVID or not, it's not in your hand. Maybe you can escape COVID now. You will get some other disease later. Because you have to live in that society. You cannot control what all the other people do in that society. You cannot control what Chinese do in the society, right? But what you can do is make your body healthier. So that whether irrespective of you being exposed to COVID or not, you don't get sick. That's what Krishna says in the shloka. Hey Arjuna, whether you being exposed to favorable or unfavorable conditions is not in your hand. Because it depends upon all factors. It depends upon so many factors you can never control. But what is in your hand is whether you are affected by favorable or unfavorable conditions. What we all do is try to change the situation. What we all want to do is to try to change the situation so that I don't get affected by situation. But unfortunately, you cannot keep on changing the situation at all the time. Krishna tells you a very, very simple thing. Hey, instead of keep on changing the situation, why can't you change yourself? Because changing yourself is in your hand. You cannot keep on changing thousands and crores of people, but you can change yourself, right? When I change myself so that I am resilient to the favorable as well as unfavorable condition, then I will never be affected by what is going on externally. And I will never be affected by what is going on externally because I have become resilient. Whether I can change myself or not is in my hand. On the other hand, if I have to keep on changing all the people, all the experiences that I encounter, it is hardly in my hand. It is what we do in our vehicles, right? If I go in Indian roads, there are going to be lots of bumps. You have two options if you want to have good travel. You want to have a good journey without any bumps. You have two options. The first option is I become a prime minister or president of India. Why? Because only when I become prime minister of India or president of India, wherever I go, the previous day, people will come and lay very good roads. Now, whenever I go, wherever I go, the day before, I will send people to change the road. The next day, when I go in that road, I will never have any problem. That is option number one. But is it possible or not is completely different question. But there is another option. Have a very good shock absorber in my vehicle. If I have a very good shock absorber in my vehicle, whatever the bumps that I encounter, it is going to be absorbed so that I, the person who undertakes the journey, will not feel the bump. That is option number two. What do you think is going to be the better option? Whether I can keep on changing the roads, which I will never know what road I will encounter, or have a very good car with very good suspension system, have a very good car with a very good shock absorbing system, which is going to even out all the bumps. Krishna is suggesting the second option. You can never change whatever that is going on surrounding you. That is given. If 10 things can go wrong, for you, 15 things will go wrong. For normal person, if 10 things go wrong, for us, 15 things will go wrong. அது நம்ம தலையில எழுத்து அதை நம்மளால மாத்த முடியாது. But what you can change is how you approach each and every situation. We cannot change the situation, but we can change how we approach each and every situation. How we can convert our dukkam into sukham. Krishna is going to tell how later. He did not tell how here. Acharya tells in his Bhashyam. Acharya tells in his Bhashyam how that can be converted. How? Because it is very, very easy to lecture this. Samadukka sukham dhiram somritattvaya kalpate sukhe dukkhe same kritva labha labhau chaya jayau. You have to have equanimity of mind. You have to have very the same outlook for both happiness and sadness. It is very, 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 very easy to lecture. But only when I encounter such situations, how do I react? The real test. The real test for all the people who study Bhagavad Gita, including the people who teach the Bhagavad Gita, is how do they react to adverse situation. You don't have to wait for that test. The test will come every second. The test will come every minute, every hour. You will have one kind of adverse situation or the other. How do you react to the adverse situation? And how you get better from that adverse situation is the real test. Swami Paramarthananda says, you have to have FIR reduction after studying Gita. The phalam of studying Bhagavad Gita is moksha. Even if I don't get to moksha, moksha is the mukhya phalam. Even if I don't get to moksha, if I can reduce FIR, it is good enough phalam. What is FIR? First information report. If something happens, you go to police station, they will file FIR. But this FIR is not that. The FIR that we talk about here, they are frequency, intensity, recovery time. The FIR that we talk about are frequency, intensity, and recovery time. Okay, what are these three? What we have to do is, we have to have a journal. Okay, Bhagavad Gita is not a theoretical thing. You have to apply that practically in your life to see whether you get benefited or not. I study quantum mechanics. Where will I apply Schrodinger's cat? Where will I apply Heisenberg's uncertainty theorem? You will never apply that. I study trigonometry. Where will I apply sine theta, sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1? You will never apply that in your life unless you are a scientist. But if you study Bhagavad Gita, you will have to apply Bhagavad Gita in your life. Otherwise, there is no prayojanam. Right? What we have to do is, we have to have a journal. That journal can be a physical journal or it can be a mental journal. When have you lost it? Lost. People say that I lost my mind. Dukkam. Okay. Let us not worry about sukham now, because we all like sukham. Even sukham has to go away. But let us not worry about sukham now. Let us focus on dukkam. When have you become sad? When have you become angry? Any adverse emotions which is going to be bad for you. திருவள்ளுவர் சொல்றார், சினம் என்னும் சேர்ந்தாரை கொல்லி. If I get angry, if I get angry, it is not going to affect the person who the anger is directed at. Anger is going to affect myself. If I get angry on person X, the person X might not even know that I am getting angry at him. But who anger is going to affect who? It's going to affect me. That is why Thiruvalluvar says, Sinam ennum சேர்ந்தாரை கொல்லி. So when have you gotten angry? Maybe let us take only anger for now. Let us not take other adverse situation. Anger. When have you got anger? In the past month, how many times you have got anger? How much time did you take to recover from anger? Because there is a shlokam that says, Uttamam kshaname tat madhyamam ghatikadvayam adhamancha ahoratram. You can get anger, but if you forget that in one kshanam, it is called as uttamam. Uttamam kshaname tat madhyamam ghatikadvayam. If I am angry for about 1 hour or so, நிறைய பேருக்கு கோவம் தான் மூஞ்சி அப்படியே மூணு வச்சுட்டு இருப்பா, இஞ்சி தின குரங்காட்டம் மூணா மூஞ்சி. How long your face is like that? If you cannot do this exercise objectively, you can have some of your family members to do that. They will keep track. When did you get angry? For what? How long you are angry for? So, how many times? Frequency. Take a period of time, 1 month or 1 week. Can be past week, or you can tell now for coming week. How long? I mean, how many times you got angry? Frequency. Intensity. How much angry you have got? There are some anger, even you will not feel that you are angry. But there are some anger you will have with so much intensity. And what is your recovery time to recover from that angry mood? You have to keep on noticing these three things. Because angry, it is just an example for dukkham, right? So there are lots of dukkham, but angry is something we can quantify. That is why we are taking angry as an example. So what is the benefit of studying? What should be the benefit of studying Bhagavad Gita now? The frequency of adverse reaction, intensity of adverse reaction, and recovery time from an adverse reaction. All these three things, if it goes away, if it goes down, then you can call yourself as an equanimous person. Sama, dukkha, sukham, dhiram. You can call yourself as Sama, dukkha, sukham. Paramarthananda also says another thing. The time between what to so what. The benefit of studying Gita is the reduction of the time between what and so what. Now, something very bad happens. Our first reaction is what? What? Or somebody talks back to me in a very bad way. I will say, what? And then, so what? Let him do that. Even now we will say, right, it happened before 10 years. So what? Forgive and forget. Right? The time difference between what to so what. FIR. These are some of the ways by which we can quantify our adverse reactions. There is a management principle that says that which cannot be quantified cannot be made better. So there is a management principle that says that which cannot be quantified can never be made better. So if you want to work on your sukham and dukkham, as I said before, let us not worry about sukham now, let us worry about dukkham. Dukkham does not only mean sadness, any adverse reaction. If you want to make your quality of life better, then you have to quantify your dukkham by means of FIR. Frequency, intensity, and recovery time. And then Krishna is going to tell certain exercises in the forthcoming chapters. How to reduce all these things. We'll start from chapter 2, but in later chapter, he will tell some exercises. Here he only tells Samadukka Sukham. He does not tell you how. But he will tell that later. Right. So now our exercise is to record our FIR from today. It need not be a physical journal. It can be in your mind itself, but record. What is my frequency of adverse reaction? What is the intensity of that adverse reaction? What is the recovery time? Some people will start crying. That is an adverse reaction. Some people will get mood off. Adverse reaction. Some people will express their anger. That is an adverse reaction. All these come under dukkham. Right. What is my frequency? What is my intensity? What is my recovery time? Then, what is Samadukka Sukham Dhiram? All the three parameters should go away, should go down. We are not talking about completely making them zero. It is going to take lots of time, even lots of janma. But what we can work on is to decrease them as much as possible so that we can go towards the Samadukka Sukham, the state of Sabha. Sama, Dukkha, Sukham. In mathematics, there is a function called as limit function. Limit x tends to infinity. X is not infinity, but x tends to infinity. You do some function. In the Mari, we should have the FIR tends to 0. And then what is the result of function now? You will go near. The more they go near 0, the more you are close to being a Mukta Purusha. Says Krishna, Saha, that person, Amritatvaya Kalpate. He will be eligible for moksha. With this, we will finish today's class. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo